Games to play in mixed reality, games to play in virtual reality, free and paid. These are my current best VR games that I recommend you checking out if you have a Quest 3 or Quest 3S. Obviously, some of these are going to be a little bit controversial, and I'm ready for the comments. So if you disagree with any of these, especially the top few, feel free to just rip into me. And if you agree with my choices, hooray! We got a good list going here. But honestly, let me know what you think of this and if I'm missing anything that you think should be added to the list as well. If you just got a VR headset, this video is really going to help you out, and if you know someone who just got one and wants to get the best games that they possibly can, both free and paid games, send this to them. It's going to help them out a lot. Okay, let's get straight into it. Let's go. Number 10, Veil. Veil is both realistic and not at the same time, and probably the best part about this game is it just recently went free to play, so you don't need to fork out any cash to get this one. This game kind of reminds me of Call of Duty lobbies back in the day. It has the same kind of excitement and the same leveling up of unlocking different skins for your weapons and just leveling up your character altogether. And yes, you can jump into this if you're new to VR, but it still has a lot to keep coming back for and advancing your skill level and just getting all around better at this game. Number 9, Into Black. Now this one is more of a hidden gem. This game is actually really good looking on the Quest. It's very crisp, the colors look great, and basically what you're doing here is you're exploring different cave environments that are absolutely huge. You're coming across enemies, mining different materials, upgrading your weapons. There's actually a huge skill tree in here as well. There's a lot more content here than people realize in this game, and you can do all of it as a multiplayer campaign, which is so much fun with friends. Oh, and I also have to mention, this one also has really good voice acting. The voice acting of the robot companion that comes around with you is the same actor who voices the robots in Fallout. You know those helping hand robots? Maybe you know it, but it's the same guy, and it works really well here. Number 8, Hyperdash. Now, I've mentioned Hyperdash a few times on the channel before. This game is also a free-to-play game, and it is competitive. Why I like this one so much is because the movement is just so unique, and I haven't seen anything else that's quite like this yet. It's a really fast-paced game. It's a fast-paced shooter that you're just sliding around on rails. There's a few different game modes that you can play here. There's a lot of ways to maneuver around the maps, and when I'm playing this one, it just gets so intense every time. It's always like the matches are so close and either side could win. But this, if you want to get a competitive, like, sweaty game to play, this is definitely one to check out. Number 7, Among Us VR. I don't think Among Us needs much of an introduction. You know it by now. And Among Us VR is the exact same experience in VR, and it works incredibly well. Among Us in VR also often has limited time events, which really add to the game and make it all feel new every now and then. But the core game with the core maps is also just so much fun to play, and voice chat can get pretty wild on this one. Now this one is a paid game and it's super cheap, and if you've ever played Among Us before, you're gonna love Among Us in VR. Number 6, this is the monkey game, Gorilla Tag. Everyone knows this game. If you know about VR, you know about Gorilla Tag. I won't be long on this one because I know people are looking for some like high quality titles in here too, and this one at first glance is not that. It's really blocky. It's not fancy looking graphics. It's not what the Quest 3S and Quest 3 can actually do, but we'll get to the games that can make the most use of the hardware in just a second. If you've been living under a rock, Gorilla Tag is just how it sounds. You're a gorilla playing tag, but there's also a lot more here now. There's cosmetics to pick up, there's different game modes to do, there's a monkey building blocks area that I did a video on in the past. You can check it out here if you're interested in, and there's often updates to this game, changing the environments and changing the cosmetics that you can get too. Now this is a free game, you don't have to spend anything in this, it's just people seem to really like to. I personally haven't spent any money in this game yet, and I love playing it, so there's no need to actually buy any of the cosmetics, but if you want to support the devs, one of the highest grossing games in VR, you can. It's actually a really fun game, and it always has a community to play with. Just be wary of some of the game chat. Number 5, Assassin's Creed Nexus. Like a few others on this list, Assassin's Creed doesn't really need an introduction. You know Assassin's Creed, and in VR, it just works perfectly. This game, I definitely feel, should have done better than it did. I think this game is one of my favorite games, and the only reason it's a little bit lower on this list is because it's not as recent as some of the newer games, or hasn't got as many updates as the games that I'm about to cover after this. But going back to Assassin's Creed, it's very much like what you would expect expect. You get to run around buildings, parkour, do the leap of fate into a hay bale off of a building, and of course you get to assassinate people, running around with your hidden blades, with your machete, with a bow. There's lots of fun ways to move around here, and the environments are all actually really pretty looking too. I remember when this originally came out and I was shocked at how many NPCs, which is non-player characters, they had walking around the maps and areas in Assassin's Creed VR Nexus. Or Assassin's Creed Nexus VR, that's how it's actually said. If you're looking for a fun story that you can also kind of go off of the linear path and adventure around a little bit, this is one of the games that you should check out. Number 4, Breachers. Now, Breachers is the Rainbow Six Siege in VR, and they've done a fantastic job of doing just that. This game is easy to jump into, but of course, it's hard to master. You have to actually act like you could die in real life, because you just get one bullet to your character, or to you, and you're basically gone, and then you're spectating for the rest of the game. So you very quickly kind of learn that you have to take cover seriously and go quietly when you're breaching in the buildings here. There's 2 teams playing here. One of them's the attackers and one of them's the defenders, and basically you're seeing who wins. It's the same concept of Rainbow Six Siege, except in VR, and this game is really crisp. It looks fantastic on the Quest 3 and 3S. Has some really cool mechanics, like being able to shoot up a grapple hook onto the building and climb yourself up and burst through a broken window. There's so many cool moments in this game that you can have. Now, before I get on to what I think are the best Quest 3 and Quest 3S games, I want to tell you about this really cool accessory that I got just recently. This has quickly become my go-to charging dock for the Quest 3S. Let me tell you why. The Prism XR Carina D1S offers a compact charging solution for your VR headset without taking up much space. It allows your Quest 3S to charge wirelessly, which previously it was not able to do without this accessory. With a tiny USB-C puck that clips into the headset, it then magnetically attaches to the charging dock, and it even still allows for the USB port to be used. So you really don't ever have to take this off once it's in, it's just easier. You get new rechargeable batteries for your controllers that you can now magnetically stick onto the dock while the headset rests in a pretty natural position, so no pressure is being put on it. There's light indicators for charge status, an optional mount for the back of the headset included in the box to support all kinds of third-party head straps while in the dock, and super fast charging. Interested in getting one for yourself? I have the link in the pinned comment and in the description. Now, on to the final 3. These ones are kind of the best games that I think you could check out right now, both mixed reality and virtual reality. These 3 games I spend probably the most time in at the moment. Obviously, this list is going to change going through time, but right now, these are my top 3. Number 3, Contractors Showdown. Contractors Showdown is the closest thing to Call of Duty Warzone in VR, and the game keeps getting so many great updates as it progresses. The main game mode here is a battle royale game, and most of the time when I'm jumping in here, there's players, and this is a paid game, so it's quite impressive that there's always a user base online to play games. Why I love this game so much is just because it feels so intense. You have to put shields in like you would in Warzone. There's so much to collect with your guns, putting scopes on your weapons. You can also use vehicles, and you can share vehicles with friends, so one of you can be driving and the other one can be shooting out the back window at an enemy. This game is probably one of the best battle royales on Quest. Of course, there is a free battle royale alternative that you could check out that I would recommend too, which is Population 1, but this one, Contractor Showdown, definitely makes it in my top 3. Number 2 is Spatial Ops. If you have enough room for this game, this is a must-play mixed reality experience. This is probably the best mixed reality game I've ever played. Spatial Ops turns your real-world home environment into an actual shooter game, and you can play with both bots here or with friends who also have a VR headset. And how this works is that you're doing co-location multiplayer, so you will actually see where your friend is standing with their headset on as you have yours on too, and you appear as the vest color of your team, and you can go around your mapped out environment like your house and use it as an actual map in game. You can also add cover, weapon pickup, spawn points. All this stuff is customizable, and it's just so much fun. There is also a kind of on rails campaign here that opens up in your room, and it opens portals that you can kind of shoot through. Obviously, it's not the highlight of this game. The highlight of this is the co-location multiplayer, and if you ever get a chance to play this, I would definitely recommend giving it a go. And finally, onto the game that I think deserves the #1 spot right now, the one that's making the most use of the Quest right now, and probably the best one to check out if you're new to virtual reality. This is Batman Arkham Shadow. Now, if you recently purchased the headset, I'm pretty sure there was a deal going on that you would have gotten Batman Arkham Shadow included on the headset, which is just crazy because this game game has some significant amount of content in it. This is a real Batman game, and it's probably the most immersive game that I've played in terms of making you actually feel like the character that you're playing as. Like, this game makes you feel like Batman throughout the entire time. The mechanics here are also great, being able to jump off of high places with your cape, attacking people in kind of a rhythm-based attack mode that they have actually works really well. I was unsure of it at the start, but it's just so satisfying to play. And lots of you watching this are probably going to get this game for free if you just recently got a headset. So if you haven't played this yet, you should redeem it and jump in. And if you didn't get it for free, I actually would recommend purchasing this game too. It's so much fun to play. That's my current list, but of course I would have missed something that you may have included on this list. So let me know in the comments what you think should have been added to this list, and let people know what the best VR and mixed reality games are on the Quest platform right now. Thanks for watching, subscribe, go watch this video because YouTube thinks you'll like it.